How's it going, Juju Gang? I hope everyone's doing well. Happy Tuesday, it feels like today. Yes, I think that's right. Okay, buybacks. I opened up this can of worms today, it seems like on X, about Tesla buybacks, and I've gotten, it's really started a pretty heated debate. So I want to get into my take as to why I think Tesla should buy back stock today. And even if you disagree with me, listen to me, hear me out, and I'm going to give you three big benefits that I think on Tesla buybacks that I think make sense. First, though, what is a buyback? And I see a lot of people getting this wrong. Buybacks are when companies buy back their own shares, typically done more by mature companies. I will admit that. And they'll use their balance sheet to take cash on hand, and they'll go in the open market and they'll buy back 5, 10, $20 billion worth of stock. You can do a billion, like it's really up to you, right? The board of directors has to approve it. That is the main thing here. So the board of directors has to sit down and they have to essentially approve this. They don't have to go through a shareholder vote. We're really nothing but plebs in this, right? And Apple buy back stock, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, all these companies buy back stock all the time. And the big benefit, actually, wait, before I get into the big benefits, Tesla's situation is a little bit different than those companies that I mentioned, right? Because those companies that I mentioned are a lot more mature than Tesla. Tesla has a lot more growth ahead of it. And so pumping cash into this buyback scenario, a lot of people look at it and they go, well, they should be spending this money on expansion, right? Does it make sense even to do a little one? So I want to set up the case why I think it makes sense to do one, even if it's a small little buyback, and I'll get into it. First, I actually don't think that Tesla will run out of money for all the investment that they need to make. Remember, Elon is on record to say they have way more money. Capital is not the limiting factor. It's human capital. They can't find the people to work for them. Well, now that they're developing the bot, maybe that changes. But it's like the money that they have has not been the main limiting factor for Tesla. Elon is on record to say this. Moreover, Elon in 2022 said, it is looking increasingly likely that we're going to do a meaningful $5 or $10 billion buyback, even in the worst case scenario. Okay? He's on record to say that even in the worst case, they'll do a meaningful buyback. Okay? Whatever that I don't know verbatim what that quote is, but he said this during earnings call, and he said that for 2023. Well, lo and behold, 2023 came and went and is gone now, and there's no buyback. So what happened to that idea? And where this debate even sparked from, I just want to say, is because obviously Tesla's horrific crash from all-time highs, right, slightly tongue-in-cheek, that's come down from 480 or whatever it touched for a hot second all the way down to $220 or whatever it was just a couple of days ago, back at 300 now. Got my little head thinking, this huge volume pump day that we saw yesterday, could there have been some buybacks going on potentially already? It kind of got my head spinning. Like, if the board of directors saw the level of hit that Tesla was taking, could they have issued an emergency buyback program to be approved and say, look, it's getting ridiculous. We have a lot of cash on hand. We're not spending all of this cash just yet. Let's buy back some stock. Remember, what buybacks will do is they'll increase your earnings per share. Because essentially when you buy back stock as a company, the outstanding share count reduces. And so if you have less shares outstanding, then your earnings per share will artificially go up, right? So EPS goes up on this news. That's why it's bullish. But the second big thing is it actually, let me get into my reasons. I have them written down here. First is it really is a confidence signal to the market. Look, it screams confidence when a company like Tesla can go to the market and go, look, despite everything that's going on right now, we believe our shares are undervalued, and the best use of our cash is not it sitting and making 3% or whatever it's making in the bank. We know we'll make way more than that if we buy back our shares right now. That's a huge confidence signal to the market, especially in a time like right now where sentiment really is a little bit more shaky, right, than it normally is. The second big benefit is that it offsets dilution of shareholder comp, right? So when Tesla issues options and dilutes shares over time because new employees get their comp plans, maybe one is Elon, maybe is regular Joe Schmo, it dilutes the share count, right? Because you have to issue more shares, and that's compensation. And so over time, this can really get diluted. And that's one of the problems that, for example, Palantir had for a long time is shareholder compensation really diluted their share count. So buybacks, what that do, even a small buyback, a $5 billion small buyback can really clean up and kind of keep that share count in check, even in growth mode. Okay. The third thing is, and I highlighted this earlier, the cheaper shares that Tesla is sitting at with, $220 just a couple of days ago, they really paint an attractive picture for the company moving forward. If you can say that when the market went crazy and your stock dropped 40%, you took advantage of that, you can get a lot more shares per every dollar that you put into a Tesla buyback right now than you can, let's say, maybe 3 or 4, 5, 6 years from now when the company's performing way more in high gear than they are right now. Another big benefit is that it broadens investor appeal, right? There's a cohort of investor out there that really only believe in, dividend type companies, stock buyback type companies, fiscally, corporately responsible type companies. And those types of investors, I think, if you did a small buyback, and Tesla has $37 billion of cash on hand, even if they did a $1 billion buyback, I think that would go a really, really long way to boosting not only confidence, but in attracting this type of investor into Tesla that might not exist at these levels even today. So, because you have the growth chasers like us, but then you have more of the fiscally conservative types that I think it would actually attract in. Not that that's Tesla's main goal. I will just say that, I'm not sitting here saying, what can we do to drive up the stock? Like, Tesla has to perform at the end of the day. I am not taking that away. I'm not saying that it doesn't have to perform here. Tesla will have to perform. This is something that they can do at the same time. And I just want to highlight, waiting 2 or 3 years here, definitely they could wait, do a bigger buyback then. But I think those benefits actually add up to a real reason why Tesla right now, in a time where sentiment is so low, share prices are, coming way down past all-time highs. That Tesla could show the market how much they believe in their own company by buying back shares. The number one piece of legitimate criticism I often see with Tesla, or not Tesla, growth shares, actually, to be fair, almost all stocks, is insiders will often sell. And retail investors like us will back them up. We'll say, look, they're on a 10b5-1 plan. It doesn't really matter. They're free to do whatever they want. But very rarely do we see insiders buy into stocks. Anthony Soto, I think, was one of SoFi, where he would buy a lot of SoFi over a long period of time when the stocks were crashing. But rarely do we see insiders go, okay, you know what, let me buy some shares of this company that I work in every single day. And, I get it. Tesla as a corporate shell buying it versus an individual insider buying it, different things. But I think, again, it goes to that sentiment where we're sitting at 2025. Sentiment has really come down for Tesla, not just stock price, but just sentiment all around the globe, really. You don't have to go anywhere to kind of catch that. During this time, if Tesla were to come out, even do a small $1 billion program, and remember, when they approve these programs, they don't have to buy them right away. They can approve the program. The board can say, yep, we authorize up to $1 billion worth of buybacks here, and that's going to be used sporadically throughout the next quarter. And then they can do block shares, and they can do big insider, not insider trading. They can do bigger block trading to actually fulfill or to get filled on those shares later. But again, I just want to wrap it up and just say that these are the big benefits that I see right now for Tesla to do it. But I'm not screaming from the rooftops either, right? Like, I'm not trying to say Tesla needs to do this or it's game over or I'm going to be upset. I'm just saying, first, I think there might have been a chance they already did it, considering the moves that we were seeing. But even if that's not the case, and maybe it's not, it might be something that they need to look into, and here's why. But I'm not going to die on this hill. This isn't a hill I'm going to die on. But I thought I'd get my kind of thoughts out there. It's hard on X or Twitter to really get everything that I'm feeling out sometimes. So video is kind of where I have to go. Much love, Yash signing off. Take care. Hit subscribe on your way out. Peace out.